Hi there, my name is Christina Miter and I'm applying for the Sales and Artistry Coordinator position with Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I have a beautiful model with me. Her name is Gina, and as you can see, she's looking gorgeous. I've used 3 tools, which are 2 concealer brushes, both a small and large concealer brush and my handy foundation brush. I've done a really nice foundation match for her. We've done a nice primer and of course started off with some skincare because great skin is where it begins. And Gina is my perfect canvas and I'm going to demonstrate a beautiful look for you today. We're going to do something natural but also something a little bit sexy, a little bit fun, and just bring out her natural beauty. So Gina, you're already looking great, you're looking flawless. We have the perfect canvas. As we can see, your foundation is matching everything. And what I want to do is create a little bit of definition. I really want to enhance your features. I see you have a great cheekbone structure, and I know that we're going to be going out tonight, so we want to make sure we look our best. I really love contouring. I would use a cream contour palette like so, but I'm also going to go in and use a bit of a powder contour. But the cream contour really lets me do a little bit of a nice blendable contour, and I'm just going to focus right down here on the cheekbone, a little bit in the nose, just underneath here, and just on the temple. And it's really going to create a nice shape to the face. And I'm going to use a really nice, I like to either use a foundation brush or a little bit of a sponge, only because it lets me apply as little as possible so it's as much product as I want to work with. So we're just going to gently start. Just to note, I haven't set Gina's foundation with a powder or anything yet because I want it to be easy to work with. And since we have a really malleable canvas, I'm able to blend and make it go seamlessly. But natural is always key. So as you can see, it's not a huge difference, but when the whole look is put together, it's really going to make that difference. So we're going to really be able to see the contour and the highlight. And this is actually a really perfect way to achieve a look for photography. Gina is a photographer, so she knows very much about how important highlighting the best features, contouring the faces for the camera. And I'm picking a shade that's just slightly darker than her natural skin tone. And you almost just want to create like a chiseled appearance, especially at the cheekbone area, because that's a really nice feature for Gina here. So I want to make sure that when we go through and do her blush, everything pops. She's got a lot of symmetry already to her facial features, so I've only contoured slightly at the nose, again at the temple, under the cheekbone, and at the jawline. Just to make sure that everything looks as smooth and good as possible. I'm going to go back in with my flat foundation brush just because it makes it a little easier to blend. And when you're doing makeup, you want to remember, nothing is permanent. You are able to blend it and create it to be the look that you want. You want to work with the product. You want to work it into the skin. So we've got our contouring started. What I'd really like to do is go in now with a different brush, which I'm grabbing right now. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of a powdered contour. I also have a highlighting kit here on top, so we're going to create that glow, the Aurora glow, but I'm going to go in and really deepen those parts with a little bit of a powdered contour. Always make sure that you tap your brush. You don't want too much product on the brush, because once you apply too much product, it's a lot harder to blend away. It's always easier to add a little bit more to get the look that you desire. So I'm just going to go in with a brush like this. As you can see, it's tapered. It makes it really easy to get into those little areas and carve out the shape. And that nice tight tip of the brush makes the application a little bit more precise, as we don't want to over contour or make the foundation look muddy. Under the jaw is great as well because it really adds definition. It's especially good to make sure you're paying attention not to over darken the neck or over darken the jaw to the neck, making sure that everything is blending because you want it to look as natural as possible. And again, just really carving out that really great cheekbone area. My next step is to add a little bit of warmth back to the complexion. We've really flattened everything out, but what we want to do is really warm things up, and I really like to use a bronzer. In this case, I'm going to use more of a matte bronzer only because I will be going in with a really shimmery highlighter. I'm going to be using a liquid glow as well as a powder highlighter. We don't want to create too much shimmer. We really want to see the difference. With the bronzer, we really want to focus on bronzing where the sun would naturally hit. So if Gina was outside, the sun would naturally hit the points, being the nose, the cheeks, a little on the chin. Make sure you do blend it onto the forehead as well. We want it to be a natural sun-kissed look. And I always like to go with the bronzer just a little down the neck, especially right on the chest area here as well, just to make sure everything is matching really nice. So far we have a great sun-kissed look. So when we're going through and we're going to add our Aurora Glow, so in place of the Aurora Glow kit, I do have a highlighting kit here. I have some shimmery shades and some matte shades. The matte shades are great for brightening an area, but the shimmery shades are really good for highlighting an area. So we're going through and looking at her skin tone. I feel like the palest color might be a little bit too bright to use everywhere, but I'm going to go in with the second shimmery shade, which is more of a peach shade, and I'm really going to go in and highlight on the top of the cheekbone, around the orbital bone of the eye, and I'm actually going to bring that up above the brow area as well. And that's a great area to highlight. It actually even helps to mask dark circles when we highlight the eye area. We've already used a concealer to neutralize any darkness as well as a primer, but especially for photos, this is a great way to make sure that the light reflects in the right spots. Another area I like to add a little bit of a highlight is just down the tip of the nose, and as well as the Cupid's bow. I'm going to be going back in with the liquid glow a little bit later to really accent my highlight, but right now I just want to add a pop of color back to Gina's cheeks using a little bit of a blush. We would normally use a blush trio, which is fantastic because it gives you options in terms of a color choice, usually a lighter, a medium, or a dark. In this case, I'm going to go with a nice rosy shade that has a little bit of a shimmer as well. And I'm just going to get you to almost smile for me. The apples of the cheeks are where you really want to find that color. So you don't really want to over apply the blush, just to really accent and add a little bit of a glow. And you can see that her complexion already looks brighter. One of the next steps that is so important, especially when doing a makeover or doing your daily makeup, is making sure that your brows are defined. Not everybody has perfect eyebrows. I know that I have to spend a little time on mine every day. They're really the frame for your eye. We can see here through the golden ratio that she actually has a great brow shape. Gina's brows do start here at the tip of the nose, and we want to naturally arch them out just about to the middle of the eye, and aim to end them at the end of the eye. And that's always a good rule to follow to make sure you're not making them too long or too close together. I have a pencil here that has a brush on the end so we can brush the hairs, and I'm just going to go through with baby strokes. It's always best if you approach a brow by small strokes as opposed to trying to draw one harsh line in, because usually that's a lot harder. You want to really craft the brow, make sure the shape matches what you're after, and really following that golden ratio. If there are any stray hairs or any really long hairs, you can deal with that. We have brow kits that contain a wax, which help to sort of smooth down the long hairs, and of course you can always tweeze out the ones that don't fall into the natural arch. So So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to continue filling in the one brow. I'm going to complete the look on the one side, leaving the other side bare so we can compare how much we've really changed her look as well as enhanced her natural beauty. Using an angled brow brush with the powder, you're able to really fill it in to thicken the brow. So this is a great way, or you could use the pomade as well. Creates more of a natural look. So the powder does create a really natural finish. And as you can see, you're not really able to tell whether or not those are her natural brows or those are done with makeup. And the finish is absolutely beautiful. And if we do have longer hairs with the comb, just brush them through. I've already gone and I have primed her lids, which is a great start. A lid primer is going to make sure your powdered eyeshadow holds. Now I would go with a neutral palette like I have here, and this is really great because we're able to create a natural look, but we have the darker colors, so if we want to go smoky, depending on what you're going to wear later, we can really do that for you. Sticking to more of the neutral tones here, the peaches, the golds, the browns, the bronzes is a really safe bet for anybody that's looking to enhance their eye. I like to start with more of a matte base, and I have a flat shadow brush. This helps you to compact the shadow on. We want to do this to create the base. So I'm just going to get you to close. Make sure you tap and just apply lightly a neutral color to the lid. And I like to bring that almost all the way up to the brow area. And we've started a really nice natural look. I like to always add a little bit of shimmer, especially to eye area, only because we want to highlight and brighten. So just close your eyes. I have a nice fluffy brush here, and I'm going to go into, especially focusing on the inner corner in the middle of the eye, with more of a shimmery shade. It's a little bit lighter, and that's just going to really pop the eyes, especially for anybody who has a deep set eye. You want to avoid doing a dark shadow the whole way through, just because that can actually make the eyes seem darker than they are, and we want to make her eyes stand out. So going in with that nice shimmer, especially focusing right near the lash line, is a nice place. I'm going to go in with a bit more of a compact brush, and I'm actually going to apply that. I've left a little space where I did the base shadow, but I just want to go right underneath the brow as well. And now I'm also going to use my more compact brush, or it's a blender brush in this case. I'm going to choose a darker color, and I'm going to do a very subtle smoky look. In this case, I'm going to use more of a dark shimmery brown, tapping that out. In a very gentle motion, you almost want to tap it into the crease and blend it down towards the lash line. And that being said, you're able to subtly build a smoky look. We're doing a natural smoky, so not the traditional coming right down from the lashes all the way up, but just really enhancing her eye shape. Just open for one moment and creating that nice little shadow there. And now we're going to go through with an eyeliner that's really going to define that look. So I'm using a really nice waterproof liner, and I'm going to use a chocolate brown today, to be honest, just because it's going to match this palette a little bit better. We could go ahead and use a black, but I feel like we're going to do more of a neutral smoky. Make sure your pencils are always really nice and sharp. This is another good tip, because you want to make sure we have a precise line. I do have a blender on the end of this pencil so I can smoke it out, but I'm just going to start by asking you to close your eyes and doing small strokes starting from about the middle of the eye, and you want to build that out towards the outer lash line. When you're doing that, you're actually creating a wider look, and I'm not aiming for something like a cat wing here, and I just want to make that clear, only because that's a really desired look, but it doesn't always work for everybody. And I feel like with a smoky look, it's always good to start with a blended liner. As you can see, we can really blend this liner nicely. So while it's still workable, gonna go in and I'm just gonna blending it into the middle, but mostly focusing the heavy color on the outside. And then you can even blend it up into the shadow so that it's more of a seamless appearance. And I'm gonna actually get you to look up at the ceiling and very, very little bit underneath the lash line, depending on the eye shape, of course, but I feel like this is really gonna open up my model's eyes right here, and it's really created a nice look without over applying the liner. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use a luster liner, and this is fun because it's an eyeliner, but it's also a highlighter. I don't know if you can see that there, but this here adds a pop. It's very shimmery, and we want to focus on the inner corner. So I'm just going to get you to look up, and I'm gently going to lift her brow area so I can get right in the lash line, and in that inner corner, I'm going to focus this luster liner, and then close your eyes. And again, just towards the center so that they meet. And I just want to blend that up, again, using the end to really enhance that shimmer in the inner eye to open it up. So now what we've done is we created an open eye. Everything here is really nice and bright. Everything here is a little bit smoky, which I think is a really nice look. And then of course, if we're gonna go, let's say we're going out tonight and we wanna really make it a little bit more dramatic, you can always go in with a waterproof gel liner. And I'm gonna do a very fine line using a nice fine angled brush, only because a thicker brush would create too thick of a line. And I'm just gonna go in there and just apply it mostly to the outer corner, but really focusing on blending it right into that lash line. And open. Perfect. Very similar to what I've done on myself today. On my eye shape today, I've actually extended my eyeliner just a little bit further, but since we're focusing on more of a smoky look, I wanted everything to blend nicely. And now, since we're just gonna finish up our smoky look, I'm gonna take a little bit more of my darkest shadow, tap it off, and just make sure it's perfectly blended into that liner, so it's almost like a gradient. And then of course the fluffy end just to blend. Perfect. So this is where I'm going to start with my liquid glow, and this here is a really nice liquid highlighter. It has a lot of benefits. I'm going to go ahead and use this with a concealer brush. Only reason being I'm going to apply it to more than one place. Focusing here again under the brow, I really want her eyes to pop, but without adding too much color. The liquid glow is a nice way to add that extra hint of shimmer. And then right in the Cupid's bow, because this is a great place to highlight to make the lips look fuller. And I'm going to go again with my foundation brush. You can use clean fingertips as well if you like, but just here on the cheekbone. And this creates more of a dewy finish, especially when it comes to a highlighted look. And that there is created just a little bit more shine and shimmer. We're looking now, we can see she's almost done, but without mascara, we're really nowhere. So I'm going to start making sure that we always use a fresh wand for every single client we see. This is a fresh tube of mascara. I have a curved brush, only reason being I want to give her a lot of volume. When you're applying mascara, don't be afraid to let your client or your model know you're going to get really close into their eyelashes. And you want to make sure you're using a wiggling motion to make sure you catch every lash. So if you feel more comfortable, you can just stare down at the tip of your nose. And I like to just gently grab at the brow, lift the lashes, and wiggle. And just try not to blink if you can. Allowing the mascara to dry. This is a very full volume mascara. And we're just going to let that dry there. Really picking up those lashes and making sure that we're creating volume. I think so far so good. How are your eyes?
Good.
Yeah?
Yep.
You're not going to cry on me yet?
No, a little watery, but I'm good.
So I like to give my model a break just so that she can dry her eyes. Going in on the bottom lashes, it's never really a good idea to go in with your mascara wand like that. That can get messy. I like to turn mine this way and just look up at the ceiling. And I actually like to just sweep it, catching every little lash, because we don't really need too heavy of a mascara look on the bottom. And that's why I lined the outer eye, just to make sure that we still have that definition. And I think that we are looking pretty good. Looking at her eye, only because I am a perfectionist and this is just how it goes. You shouldn't be afraid to add a little more if you need to. I'm seeing this now. I feel like we could just add a little bit more of a shimmer just to that center, so close. And I'm actually going to throw on a little gold there just to give you a little bit more of a fun look. Perfect. I think that is a little bit nicer. Just that gold warms it up. And you can close. Very nice. So I think that with a neutral eye, I like to do more of a bold lip. And we're going to go with a matte color. I've picked a really fiery red matte lipstick. I'm going to do a liner, but that's a bit more neutral, closer to Gina's natural lip color. I don't want to overline the lips, but I do want to fill them to make sure our lipstick is going to stay put. So I'm just going to get you to perfectly, almost like a half smile, just so that the lips are nice and tight enough so that we can apply a liner. And again, small strokes is always the best way to go, and I'm actually filling in her whole lip. Again, a really neutral color. You can very subtly see a difference there, but we've created a good palette, a good canvas that's just going to hold this color. And when you're using a liquid lip, especially on a client, I like to make sure we are using a disposable brush. So a lip brush is always best. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and take some of my color on my brush. And the lip brush is great because we can really smooth the color on. I'm going to start by applying the lip color in the center. And I'm just going to get you to smile slightly, and I'm going to really blend that out. With a matte lipstick, you have to work quickly just because it will dry. And follow the natural contour of her lip. And don't be afraid to touch your client's face when you're applying that lipstick, because you do want to be anchored on. You don't want to be too far away so that the lipstick isn't precise. And you can go ahead and close. And just make sure that those lines are nice and crisp. And again, making sure that we're really focusing on enhancing her natural lip contour. I'm just going to go in a little bit again with my Liquid Glow and just focus it one more time in that Cupid's bow. And then you can always take your foundation brush or concealer brush to make sure that the lines are nice and clean so that the lipstick is not going to bleed. And I think that we've created a really nice subtle lip look there. But a pop of color, so that's going to be really nice. My final steps are pretty important. You want to make sure that her makeup's going to last. So I actually have a setting spray here, and I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes. And I'm going to do a pump, and then another pump. You want to stay, within reason of your client. That's going to really help to set the makeup. This is a mattifying setting spray. And then last but not least, a setting powder. I'm just using a translucent powder. You want to use a big fluffy brush because you don't want to over apply. It's a light dust. Tap your powder there and just really lightly go ahead and set the makeup so that we have a look that's going to last all day. So what we've done here is we've really paid attention to the proportions of her brow. We've created an eye look that's opening, and we've also done a lip color that I think really suits her, and I think it suits your personality. It's a little bit sassy. So what we can see is one side completely done, and one side, so this side here is completely done, and then this side here is what I would call a bare face beauty. You could just throw a little bit of mascara and brow pencil, gloss, and you're good to go. But for a full look, I do really prefer this. And this is Gina's before and after. Perfect, so I've had time to complete the look, and as you can see, my model is looking amazing. Her natural beauty is showing. We've got a really nice red lip. It actually goes well with her hair, and I think Gina looks fantastic. Thank you so much for being here for my video.